Welcome to the Kidderminster Museum of Carpet. In this instructional video, Jed and Mark will be showing us how to maintain the Spool Axminster loom.
Hello, I'm Mark.
I'm Jed.
And we're going to show you how to go through the motions of starting this Spool Axminster loom up after it's been stopped for a long period of time. Okay, what we're going to do now is oil the moving parts of the gantry. To do that, I've got to climb the ladder and get up on the gantry. Okay, what I'm going to do now is make sure each one of these wheels, I've got a drop of oil on it, free running wheels, so just a spot of oil, not a gush, just a spot. On each oil hole, just a drop, just a little squirt. Less is more. Okay. These castings here, there's a little hole in the top, and I'll put a little drop of oil in there. And the same on the little hole in the top of that casting. And it's the shaft that turns on these two, not the wheel. The wheels are fixed to the shaft, the hole of the shaft turns.
Okay, well what we're going to do now is carry on with the oil can and make sure every moving part will be oiled, like for example this shaft, and the more important part is the knife. This is the knife. So we make sure there's a bit of oil on the knife there. The other part is this what we call a needle slide. I'm going to put a bit of oil along the needle slide because of the amount of friction that entails when it's running. What we're going to do is also check the materials. We've oiled round and everything is okay as regards the oil. Now what we're going to do is go around there to our left, to my left a little bit, and check the materials. For example, we're okay with the weft. This is the weft. We've got 3 balls of weft, they're okay. We've already checked the yarn in the tubes are okay, and the beams are okay. So we should be okay to go. When the loom's running, it does make a lot of noise, so we usually issue a warning when the visitors are here that the loom is loud. We have got a decibel reading at 90 odd decibels. Then the next thing we need to do is to make sure that the tension is perfect, because if it isn't, the cone won't turn the tufts back up. So this is called a spike roll that I'm touching now, and on the end of the spike roll shaft is this gear wheel. Now this gear wheel is obviously very important because this is where the carpet is taken up. Now it's controlled by this wheel that we refer to as the take-up wheel. And what you do before you actually start up, by catching hold of this wheel, one of the spokes in the wheel, is just pull it and take it up a nick. That's known as taking it up a nick. Now that's put the tension back onto this wheel, so that the tufts that will be turned up by the cone. Okay? Okay, now if we're ready to go, we need to turn the power on, which is here. So we've turned the power on there. This button is to start the motor up. We don't need to do that yet. We just check this box. Now what this box does, it will stop the loom, or we hope it will stop the loom if something goes wrong, because a light will come on if something goes wrong. For example, there's a light because it says, there's a little label by it saying the knives have failed to cut. So we need to put that light out, and we put that light out with that reset button. Okay, if there are any other lights come on, we have got a little label against the light to tell you why the loom is stopped. Okay, so if any of those lights come on while the loom's running, the loom stops, you've got a reference as to why the loom has stopped. Okay, well we've checked everything as far as we know, everything's okay. We've oiled round, we've checked the materials, we've checked the electric box. We should be ready to go. Now to do that, we need to start the motor up. There's a button down here, stop and start button, press the green button. You can hear the motor started up. Now when the motor's running, the control is this handle you control it with this handle here. So you pull the handle towards you and the loom will start running.
These simple things need to be done because it could cause major problems if they're not. And because these looms are so old and parts, bits and pieces, they're just not available anymore. So anything that did go wrong, if there was a breakage, it would be a major thing to get it replaced. So prevention is better than cure.
The way I look at it is we're looking for decent carpet, so we look for other problems that make rubbish carpet, shall we say. So I look for problems that do arise. For example, if I go over, excuse me, Mark. Yep. If I go over here, we just run the chain round to look for these ends that are coming out of the tube to see if they're the appropriate length, because if they're not, it'll weave what we call a short row. So that's the one thing, but there are numerous things that we look out for. For example, these are held in by springs, and as it goes around the chain, the springs could break or weaken and they can fall out. So although we need to be on the loom, we need to constantly look up to see if anything's happening up there. It is very important, because if they fall, I should say, when they fall out up there, it could cause chaos. And a job, instead of taking minutes to put right, could take hours to put right. So we're constantly looking up there. They have fallen out while we've been doing demonstrations here in the museum, so it always pays to keep your eye on those sort of problems. The other problem, or possible problem, is for the weft to break, and you have to repair that. So you need to know how to thread the weft up, for example. But otherwise, touch wood, the loom runs pretty well, and I'll give credit to Mark for that, because he knows every little bit of that loom and he's made sure everything is as it should be when it was put together.
And that's all there is to it.